are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
Marlins got a run in the second, 2 in the third. Each team scored in the fifth. The pitch, a swing and a miss. Walker strikes out. For the third time tonight, this ballgame has come to an end. Miami salvages a game in the 3-game series, beating the Cardinals 6-2.
Welcome into the Extra Innings Show. I'm Joe Pott in our KMOX studios. The Extra Innings Show is presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Well, the Cardinals fall tonight by a final of 6-2. As you heard John Rooney there with the final call. We can talk about it here if you'd like. 314-436-7900. Or you can find us on the socials, on Facebook, on X, on which one am I missing? YouTube, of course. And we're right there, and you can drop a comment, and we can talk about that. Tough night, not anything super surprising at this point in the season. You have 2 good nights of starting pitching, 2 good nights of offense, really good nights of offense the last 2 nights. Tonight, you didn't. You didn't really have either. Again, it was not a great start from Andre Palante. It was not a disastrous start. He gets you into the 6th inning, but he does so giving up 5 runs, walking 3. You have a tough night from the bullpen in regards to giving up a run in a kind of a rough way to give up the run, I guess. It wasn't a terrible night for the bullpen in all. The collection of Veneziano, Granillo, and Fernandez gives up just the 1 run, and it was after Granillo had walked 3 in that 8th inning. And then Fernandez came in to get out of it. But I think overall, you don't have the good offensive night against Sandy Alcantara. I know what Oliver Marmol said. He liked the approach, but I think for the most part, when you strike out 9 times in a game, you strike out more than that. He struck out 9 Cardinals hitters. The Cardinals, in fact, struck out 14 times in the game. So that's not necessarily a great night for your offense. They only have 5 hits and the 14 strikeouts tonight. So I don't know. I mean, I can understand where he's coming from, and there were some line drive outs that I guess you can say that you like the way that the at-bat went, and I totally get it that it's the results do not dictate, the quality necessarily. But ultimately, you're trying to get the results. And ultimately, you do not want to be going down 14 times on strikes during a game. And that's what happened to the Cardinals tonight. That's twice now this year that Alcantara has done that to them. And more than that, if you missed the pregame show coming into this season, Alcantara had one of the best ERAs of any pitcher ever against the Cardinals. He had a 1.71 ERA coming in 7 starts, and that's going to be better now tonight after going 7 innings tonight, giving up just the single earned run. So if you want to talk about it, you can get in. I believe we have our first caller tonight. Don is on the line. We'll go right to Don. You're on KMOX.
How you doing, Joe?
Doing okay.
Okay. I've been watching Palante all year. I personally don't think he has it to be a major league pitcher in the National League. I don't think he belongs on this roster. Here's my other comment. I think they need a new rotation with pitchers that can throw the ball by somebody, because you can see what happens when the pitchers hit contact, that, the ball's going to be, they're going to find holes, and that's what happened tonight. I mean, and then that puts your offense in a difficult spot. You get behind early. He's given up a lot of runs in his last 4 or 5 starts, and you're not going to win many games like that. I don't care who you are or what kind of offense you've got. And they definitely need a big bopper in their lineup, Joe. I'll hang up and listen to your comments. And like I said, they need a new rotation completely.
Yeah, Don, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. Now, I will say the good thing is, at least it appears right now, that is something that Chaim Bloom is making a priority as well. And I say that because you look at the draft that the Cardinals just completed in July, and certainly Liam Doyle, who they took in the first round, is one of those guys. They have a lot of guys that are the hard-throwing, blow-it-by kind of guy. Tanner Franklin as well from Tennessee. Both of those guys are big strikeout guys. So it at least appears that is, kind of what he has valued. Veneziano, in fact, who they claimed off of waivers, who made his Cardinals debut tonight. Alcala as well, Jorge Alcala. Those are guys that can be much more strikeout pitchers. Getting away from that pitch to contact, rely on your defense, that has been a staple of what the Cardinals have done over the last couple of decades, quite honestly, to get back to the swing and miss stuff. So that is the first part of Don's comment. The other one was getting a bopper in the lineup. And I talked about this last night, that when you see what kind of night the Cardinals have last night, base hit, the death by 1,000 cuts, that's good. And that is what they are capable of on a good night. But they don't have the luxury of not having a great night that way, like tonight, because they don't have somebody in the middle of the lineup that you're going to sit back and say, it's okay if we can get to whoever, he could hit a 3-run home run. And they don't have that, and I think that's something that's missing, and I think that most would agree that is a big part of what's missing in this Cardinals lineup. Let's get a couple of comments here. John Mozeliak probably regretting trading Sandy. I mean, perhaps, but that's been a long time now. It was 7 years ago that he made his major league debut for the Cardinals, and I'm certainly not one that you can just automatically look and say, okay, because he was so good here, it means it was a bad trade. People do that all the time, and Marcell Ozuna had a great year for the Cardinals that year, got you a division title, got you into I believe the NLCS that year. Was it 19 or maybe it was 18? Yeah, so, I mean, you got what you kind of wanted. They opted not to give a qualifying offer to Ozuna, or either that or they just offered him a qualifying offer. Whatever the case, I'm not usually the one to go back and try to rewrite. I think a lot of times maybe that's going to happen here. Maybe it's not. So, yeah, maybe he regrets it a little. I don't know. Terry Moore says he's turned his attention to how players are developing now, not wins. I really like that idea. Gorman, Walker have around 5 or 6 weeks to show something more. Hopefully they will. I think that's really smart, Terry, because that's how I think immediately when you make the trade of Matz and Helsley and Maton, you are signaling that our priority is not to try to get into the playoffs necessarily. Look, do they still want to? They still want to win? Absolutely. If they have a good couple of weeks here, they can get into a wild card spot, fine. But I think most of us agree they're not going to be, this is not the team that like, hey, if they can just get in, there's a run coming from them. It just doesn't feel that way. It doesn't seem that way. There might not even be a post-series win coming from them, let alone getting you to the NLCS or beyond. And I think, as Terry says, more importantly is you have to have, I think now you have to have final decisions. There is no more Walker and Gorman and we're not sure and all of those things. You have to have your decision. You have to know exactly what you have in those guys, and I think a lot of guys. And we're going to find out how Chaim Bloom thinks about them and what, if some of them are not here next year. I don't know. And then finally, Jeremy says, do you think the Cardinals will look at Dylan Cease? I don't know. I mean, that's been someone that they have looked at before. It's really not a question that I can answer right now. Sam wants to know, why did Ali let Palante go out for the 6th when he gave up 4 and 5 innings prior to that? I mean, he only gave up that last run, obviously charged to him, that home run, but at that point you're down 4. No, I'm sorry, you're down 4-2. I don't have a big issue with it. I think that you're hoping that Palante gets you there, so you're not using the same guys out of the bullpen. Last night, they used Swanson, Romero, O'Brien. Those are sort of like your more higher leverage guys. If you can stay away from those guys, honestly, tonight I think they probably would want to. And I would guess that was the biggest reason there. Kurt, I believe, is still with us. Kurt, you're on Camo X.
Hey, good evening. Hey, I'm saying bring up Weatherholt. Look at all these other teams. You know, they're bringing up these young guys, Holiday and Skeens. Just think if they were with St. Louis, you think they'd be getting called up to our major league roster? It's frustrating. I mean, Weatherholt's what, 22, 23? And then how about that young pitcher they just drafted, Liam or somebody? You know, I say bring these guys up, man. And, you know, like you said, it's pretty much a wash for the year already. So let's see what they can do. And then number two, do you think after Mozeliak leaves, is it just going to be the same, you know, you think this new guy's going to be able to do anything, or is he going to, you know, or is he going to be out micromanaged by DeWitt and the ownership? Yeah. And I'll hang up and listen to your call. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Don, and I think that is that's certainly something that, you know, we don't know. I don't expect that to be the case, because I don't expect that they would. It's hard for me to think they would make the change if their philosophy was going to just sort of be stand pat. Now, I don't think they're going to break the bank necessarily. You're not going to all of a sudden see the DeWitts be the top bidder for all kinds of free agents, because that's not the way they've ever worked. But I do think that they are still committed to putting a winning team out, if for nothing else, to try to get fans back to Busch Stadium, right? Because if that is what the fans are saying, we're sick of it, we're frustrated, we're not going to be spending our money at Busch Stadium. I mean, you would hope that would send a message. So I would think that's the case. And I do believe that they're going to back Chaim Bloom, because, again, I don't know that I don't think they would make the change unless they were hoping to back Chaim Bloom. As far as J.J. Weatherholt, that's an interesting question, and it's one that John Mozeliak has a lot of sort of pushed it aside because it's not fully his decision. It will affect the future and the Cardinals going forward. J.J. Weatherholt, by the way, is going to turn 23 on September 10th. So he was asking about how old he is. I don't think there's a chance. Liam Doyle's not coming up, who you just drafted this year. There's no way. They want, obviously, you need to see more of Liam in minor league baseball. No reason at all to do that. J.J. Weatherholt's another question, obviously. I think that he has obviously proven a lot at the minor league level. But again, John Mozeliak has said it's definitely not his decision alone. So we'll see what happens come September when they expand rosters. But everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like that they plan to do that. Carlos on our stream says, Sandy Alcantara did it again. 7 innings, get up 5 hits, 1 earned run, walked 9 so far this season. New thought here. So far this season is over. I don't see the playoffs this season. I'm getting ready for 26. And I agree, Carlos. It's kind of what we were saying before. Again, can they get there? Yes, they're not mathematically eliminated. I get that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that is where the focus should be, 2026 and beyond. You need to start making decisions. And like I said before, I think you are clearly past we're still trying to figure out on certain players. It either is or it isn't. And that goes for Walker and for Gorman, probably for Sajasi. You've seen a ton of these guys. I think, and I think that decision is probably already made, to be honest. I think Chaim Bloom has probably seen what he needs to see from these guys and is already has ideas, thoughts, maybe already has offers, because we had heard that about some of the left-handed hitters, Burleson, Donovan, maybe Nootbaar, that perhaps there are folks that are interested in some of those left-handed hitters. It has to be Chaim Bloom's team. So if that is if he's building around Walker and Gorman and others, great. But if he doesn't want to, I hope he doesn't have to. I hope that he's got the flexibility and the freedom to move those players if he wants. That's what I fully expect. I would not be shocked at wholesale changes. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but I would not be shocked. Sam says we've only made the playoffs, yes, one time under Oliver Marmol. That is true. 2022, they won the division and went to the postseason there. We know 23 and 24 were not good. 24 was better than 23. 25 is probably going to be really close to 24 record-wise. So, yeah, and I know what you're getting at, obviously. I have no idea what to tell you as far as is Ollie Marmol going to be back. Everything we've heard is he has a great relationship with Chaim Bloom. They speak often, which you would expect, because even though Chaim Bloom is not yet the president of baseball operations, he will be, and he's in the organization, and he's trying to make changes to the organization from the lower levels, from the minor league levels. So, yeah, again, we're told they have a good relationship, but that's another thing I would tell you is that if you're serious about this being Chaim Bloom's team, then in my opinion, if he wants a different manager, he should be able to get a different manager. And Oliver Marmol has a year left on his contract, so he's either going to be extended or he's not. And if he's not, he's probably going to be let go, right? That going into 26. And I'm not saying, I'm not even necessarily saying that's a reflection of the job that Oliver Marmol is doing. I don't think Oliver Marmol is doing a bad job, to be really honest with you. But I think that if you're saying, hey, Chaim Bloom, this is your team, this is yours to fix, yours to make the way you want, and he decides that part of that is a new manager, then a new manager is going to be here in St. Louis next year. And if not, then I think that you're going to see Oliver Marmol extended, because then the same could be said. Why are you just letting him? You're not going to have him, be there for a lame duck year. You're going to extend him and let him continue to do the work that you think that he can do. By keeping him, that's what you're saying, and ultimately that would be extending him. That's certainly the most likely is those two scenarios. I can't imagine a scenario that Chaim Bloom comes in and says, yeah, let's run one more year. Let's see what happens one more year, and keeps him for that lame duck year. Let's take a break here. Let's come back and have another segment of the Extra Innings Show. If you want to get in, we'll have a few more minutes. 314-436-7900. You can also get in on the socials, on our stream, on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And otherwise, we'll be right back. This is the Extra Innings Show on KMOX.
There's a big red barn where you say green. Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun. All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, 'cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your 2, big Q2. Rollin' makes a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services, like material staging and kitting, or maybe our logistics specialists, who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So, consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line, and get to know us for that. Yep, Graybar does that.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Innings Show.
A lot of traffic, as we mentioned.
Wilson Contreras slams one deep left center. It's a goner. The Cardinals are down by 2 again, as Contreras, who struck out the first 2 times, just hit one out. His 17th home run of the year and his 67th RBI.
That was a bright spot from tonight's game. Wilson Contreras with the home run in the 6th inning. He has really hit well in his career at Lone Depot Park. Joe Pott back in on the Extra Innings Show. It's presented by Graybar. Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Just doing a little looking here to check up. Somebody had asked me about Dylan Cease. Just checking. He is, he would be a free agent going into 2026. Would be interesting to see if that is someone that the Cardinals want to take a flyer on. He will be, he'll turn 30 in the offseason, right before the New Year, as a matter of fact. He's almost a New Year's baby. December 28th, he'll turn 30. So, yeah, wouldn't be out of the question, I think. Let's wait and see. Carlos wants to know if Yadi would come back to be the head man. I think that's two different questions, but I think ultimately if the Cardinals thought that was the way to go, I think Yadi would certainly entertain it. I still don't know if there is do I think Yadi wants to manage? Yes. I don't know if Yadi is ready to manage a 162-game big league season and everything that goes into it. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the tools, the power, or the smarts, the brain, obviously, to be a big league manager. Anybody that has watched him, players that have played with him and against him, I think they believe that. There's so much more that goes into being a major league manager that I think people maybe don't think about. Think about the fact that Oliver Marmol talks to us on our pregame show every game. So 162 games. Add in the fact that he does a once weekly program essentially at midday in a Gas House Gang here on Camo X. And before that, he was doing a spot on the Sports on a Sunday Morning show. So as long as he's been manager, he's got that weekly spot. And he's great at it, by the way. So the fact that the Cardinals fans have access and the fact that he is willing to do that here on Camo X, I think that's great. And it's amazing, really, if you haven't checked it out, that he allows that kind of access, that he is that candid and that open. And quite honestly, that funny, if you saw yesterday when the question was posed to him about realignment in the major leagues, and his answer was, realignment, I'm just trying to get Walker to hit. Literally, that's how he's talking. He's addressing the fans. He's answering comments the same as I see your comments here on the stream. He sees them, but that's part of it, right? That's part of the responsibility of a major league manager. Then taking the facts that now you're at the top of an organization. So as I mentioned, he's talking to Chaim Bloom about the minor leagues and about things that are going on there on players that may someday be in a Cardinals uniform. So all of that goes into it as well. It's not just the X's and O's and the managing a bullpen and managing a lineup, writing down a lineup every day. There's a lot that goes into it. So someday I think, we'll probably see Yadi as a manager. I don't know that it would be anytime very soon. And I'm not sure Yadi is ready for that. And he almost kind of said that when he turned down or didn't come to terms, I guess, with the special assistant job, because it was right then a little bit more of a commitment for this 2025 season. What's on Deck is brought to you by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best, ChesterfieldFence.com. Tomorrow it's a 6:35 start in Tampa. That means the pregame show gets underway at 5:40. Sonny Gray will go for the Cards tomorrow. He'll be up against the right-hander Joe Boyle for Tampa Bay. Gray looking for his 12th win of the year. Boyle is 1-2 with a 4.68 ERA. It is also a 6:35 start, on Friday night. It's an open day on Saturday. They're not going to play Saturday. That's what actually the Thursday game, they moved it back. And then they'll finish up this series on Sunday morning, Central Time. It'll be 11 o'clock start Central Time on Sunday morning. One final comment here. Jeremy asks, when Walker does hit, he takes him out of the lineup and wonders why he can't hit. Yeah, he was hitting right after the All-Star break, and then he stopped hitting again. So I know there's a lot going on there with Jordan Walker. It just feels like he hasn't quite gained the traction that they want him to gain, and certainly not the consistency that they want him to have at the plate. I appreciate the comments, appreciate all the calls tonight. Thanks to John Rooney, to Rick Horton, to Ryan Schulte, all there in Miami, getting you through tonight's game. Johnny Camp right there on the little box on the screen. He's the one that's making it all sound good and putting it all together tonight. Certainly appreciate all that he does. I'll talk to you later in the week. Matt Pauley will be back with you tomorrow night as the Cardinals and Tampa Bay get after it. So keep it here on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman, like an MVP candidate, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, one of